All right, hello, everybody. This is Saturday, September 15th.
September 15th.
September 15th. I'm Noah. This is my
Good
best friend.
friend Henry, and we are here live. As you can probably tell if you've listened to the last episodes, I am sitting closer to the mic on the other side now, and Noah's on the other side, so do a little bit of a switch up.
Yeah, we did a switcheroo. It was about time. I have a loud and annoying voice. Henry has a pep voice.
A calming presence.
Calming presence, quieter than mine, so I'm a little bit further from the mic, just like how they used to record back in the old days.
I gotta preserve my vocal cords, man. I gotta sing.
Did you know about that? There's like
What?
when they did old, like, I forgot what you would call it. It's like not like before swing music, like the old timey jazz. They used to have like one mic and it recorded onto, like, I think they're called phonographs or something, like the wax
Yeah.
based
Like the
vinyl.
RCA, whatever.
Yeah. And they used to basically line people up in order of like what was loudest, so the drummer couldn't even play a full drum set. They would just have like trinkets that they would drum on. And
Seriously?
like the trumpet player would be like all the way in the back.
Yeah.
And then the singer would be closest to the mic so that they would
That's crazy.
to get dynamics, yeah.
Imagine
And to get a good mix.
podcasting back then, dude.
I know.
That must have been nuts. Totally rough.
Yeah, dude. These podcasts from the 1910s and 1920s, dude. Man, you
Rough.
can barely even hear them, dude.
Yeah, so speaking of bringing our nation back to the 1910s, Donald Trump. We'll start off with that. We have a terrible tragedy sweeping the Carolinas in America right now. Hurricane Florence has officially made landfall at the time of this recording down there. As you guys know, we are based in Washington, D.C., which has also declared a state of emergency, but
we're not really in a
no.
Yeah, we're not really in a state of emergency, so like
Nature.
you can come hit us up. We're like right around the corner. We're gonna be chilling.
Yeah, like it's not raining even.
Yeah, it's not even raining. It's overcast. It's supposed to start raining, I think, tonight, but yeah, like we're chilling, man.
We're chilling. So people down south though have a different story. Our friend in Georgia has been evacuated. Yeah, because of this. So a bunch of stuff to talk about related to Florence in politics, but first of all, let's talk about the storm itself. One thing that I thought was pretty cool coming out of this is my friend Sam showed me this. There's a house that's kind of like an Airbnb rental off of the Carolina coast. It's like way out there. You can only get there by boat. And they have a live camera there like at all times. And it's attracted like huge attention because it was like right in the middle of the trajectory of the storm. It's called the Frying Pan House. And if you guys look up Frying Pan House live cam on YouTube, you can see just the fucking devastation that this storm caused. One of the clips that I thought was really fascinating was they have their American flag flying above the building, but then the wind like literally tore the flag to shreds. Like just air just ripped it apart. It was whack. And the comments, of course, are hilarious because it's a YouTube live stream.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Daniel stationed there. I think he's like the only person. Everybody's like, no, Daniel. Because the camera went out for like a few hours. So, anyways,
That's fun.
it's crazy. The death toll is 5 now. And we'll see how the administration reacts to this one.
Yeah, it's weird because death tolls, it's like, are you really going to trust the death tolls after what happened in Puerto Rico? Like,
yeah, so what happened there? Donald Trump recently went on a tweet storm this past week, right?
no pun intended, tweet storm.
Yeah, a tweet hurricane saying
Which is worse, actually, than an actual storm.
Yeah.
Especially given the figures that are coming out of the government. Just to bring that joke all the way back around and kill it.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, the whole thing about it is, like, so what was it? The story goes, it's rewind back to last year. Hurricane Maria rips through Puerto Rico. Trump is out there. And, okay, first thing. We know for sure that Trump is sitting up in his office, like, pissed right now. because of one, you know how narcissistic he is and stuff, and
Right.
he's super pissed about one story that's ran. They brought back the whole throwing the towels into the crowd thing. Do you remember that? So like Trump is in there, and then he's like up on a stage being like, look at these beautiful
Oh yeah,
paper
the paper
towel
towel.
rolls.
Like he's in a third world country.
He's like,
or
look at these
something.
beautiful paper towel rolls, and he starts like tossing them into the audience.
That's like
It's-
a PR no pun intended, PR campaign, public relations campaign that he went on in like
He's like selling.
South India.
He's like a spokesperson for
Afghanistan.
paper towels. Yeah,
He's like, look at these beautiful
he
paper
literally
towels.
called them like beautiful paper towel rolls.
That's ridiculous.
Tosses a couple into the audience.
And like probably water bottles too. He's like handing
Yeah.
out 5 water bottles that
He's like, feed.
people are like
He's
crowding.
like feeding ducks, yeah. But anyways, the story came out, and it's like bad optics, whatever. And of course, like the media on the left like totally took advantage of that too, which
Because
is
he's
like
in America. He could be.
so.
If he did
Trump
that
is
in
really-
Detroit, if he handed out water in Detroit, he would get his ass beat, dude. I feel like.
Oh yeah, I mean, but anyways, like so this happens. Trump is like furious. Apparently, there's reports coming out that he's like still caught up on this like paper towel thing, and he's still doing the whole being all
Wow.
defensive about it, being like, no, they asked me to throw the towels into the audience, and like this and
Of
that.
course, yeah. I mean, somebody told him that that was gonna be okay. Otherwise, where would he have gotten the paper towels from? Like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have come prepared with paper towels if they weren't like, you're gonna hand out a couple paper towels, like, or maybe they were just extra paper towels for him to like, wipe spill in his fucking Air Force One. Maybe that's what it was.
Clean up his
Like-
drool.
Yeah, like maybe that, and maybe he was out of the kindness of his own heart, freely giving away his own paper towels.
You know
but
what though? I think those are government paid for by taxpayer dollars. I still think he like stashed some though, like in his bag before. I think he's like he pulled some out. He's just like, I could use these.
Yeah.
And just pulls it back. Anyways,
he's like
yeah.
the only hotel owner that actually steals other hotel soaps.
he steals the
Like, I
shampoos.
bet,
Yeah.
I bet you he like goes to his competitors and just steals like pockets full of just those tiny and then he'll put them in his own hotels.
Yeah.
Be like, look at all this super nice, hand sanitizer that we offer at Trump hotels.
Yeah.
But then
Oh
they
my
have a
God.
sticker that says Hilton on them or something.
And it says made in China on the bottom too.
Yeah.
It's just like... Anyways, so Trump is doing this whole thing. The other thing that he's all worked up about was Friday he did this thing on Twitter about the...
Frying pan house. Is that what?
No, he talks about the frying pan house.
Well, what was the
The
frying
death
pan
toll
house?
thing. Oh, the frying pan house was the house, the Airbnb with the live cam that the flag was torn apart.
Oh.
That's the building. You guys should look up the photo on Google. It's whack, dude. And I would hate to be this guy Daniel that's staying out there like keeping
Okay.
track of the. Anyways, so pulling it back up, Trump tweeted about the death toll. The story goes that Trump was there, Maria, Puerto Rico, and he was briefed by some advisors saying, "Oh, the death toll is like 16 people have died."
But they were underplaying. Everyone knew that they were underplaying it at that moment. It just wasn't like, I mean, you can get official numbers and just frame it however you want to. I mean, you could do like a realistic listing of everyone that died and have it be like, this correlates with the hurricane, but not all the deaths are necessarily directly a result of the hurricane. Or you could say, how many people do we know of that we kept track of that we're positive that they were directly killed by only the hurricane? Or you can take the numbers from how many people were flooded and died
so
that
who was
way.
killed by wind and rain and it probably doesn't. 16 didn't account for falling trees. Or,
Yeah, that number was clearly fabricated in some way. I mean, I think it's totally legit that it was probably a real figure that correlates with something about the hurricane. I mean, the real figure at the time where they could have, strategically, figured out the death toll that morning because they knew there were going to be more deaths as the day went on, accumulating.
Yeah.
So I think if I remember correctly, at the time, we all knew that the numbers were fake. We just knew that there was still a question mark on that number, and that a lot of the people outside of the big city, it's really hard to figure that out for
Oh, yeah. I mean, and okay, numbers aside though, the main point here is that Trump went onto Twitter and he was literally saying, "Oh, you guys said 3,000 people died. That's lies. Like that's fucking lies right there." That's the issue, dude. Is like so many
obviously.
people died. It's such a tragedy. Like you can't just be like you can't make it about the fake news media, dude.
Well, he's
After that,
competing with George Bush about Katrina, and he doesn't understand the priorities in a tragedy, apparently. Because if he did, he wouldn't be saying this stuff.
Do you know what else indicates that? Did you see what he tweeted on 9/11?
Nah.
He said, 17 years since 9/11! Exclamation mark. He literally tweeted that.
Wow.
Let me pull it up actually, because it's one thing to hear about it, but the other thing to read it, to read the actual text.
That's ridiculous. No, I mean the other thing too is that I think during 9/11 didn't he blame Rudy Giuliani for some stuff?
I'm sure, dude, like for something. But now he's his closest
I
person.
mean, Rudy Giuliani, I think, tried to strategically use 9/11 for a whole bunch of stuff.
Dude, it's hard to scroll through Trump's Twitter right now because it's so much shit. Okay, to be honest though, I've been scrolling for about almost 40 seconds now, and everything is all about the. Okay, wait, we've got it. Oh, it's the anniversary of the deplorables. I don't think I'll be able to find this tweet buried amongst this shit pile, dude.
I mean, the date it's supposed to have occurred on.
9/11. Oh, here it is. 17 years since September 11th.
Yeah, it's like he was about to write the smiley face emoji, and then he settled on an
exclamation mark. Like the I would call it insensitivity or lack of regard for the gravity of the situation. Yeah.
I mean, people think he's a sociopath. I mean, he's clearly narcissistic.
Yeah. Okay. Since we're on September 11th, actually, do you want to go into one of yours, or should we go into this?
Yeah, I'll go into mine. We'll come back to September 11th.
Yeah, which was earlier this week, which is why we're bringing that up.
Right. It's the 15th. September 11th, to be honest, I don't even... I mean, you can call it insensitive, you can call it whatever you want. I don't think we can really memorialize this day until we start helping out, first responders, period. I just think it's, ridiculous that it's like having a Vietnam War day. Mm-hmm. Seriously, that you're gonna commemorate that day as it's this should be memorialized day of remembrance for how fucked up and shitty we are as a nation. I mean, 9/11, I'm not gonna say that we deserved it, but people knew about it. People in the Defense Department knew that it was coming. They had the intelligence, and since then, we've only spent more time and money based on national security trying to spy on people to quote unquote prevent stuff like this from happening. And you see it all the time. There's terrorist attacks all over America, but guess what? They're white people that are Christians, or not necessarily Christians. They're just, white supremacists.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is we had this terrible tragedy that needs to be remembered, but if we're not addressing the most basic things, dude, you're talking about the first responders and stuff, people that developed cancer and all this other stuff just because they were involved in this is you need to start from the bottom and not in the context too. But we'll get back to that later about the
yes. Okay,
context.
so So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Senate race in Texas.
Yes, big one.
Yes, big one.
The most like interesting one to me right now.
So Beto O'Rourke challenges the incumbent Senator Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is all sorts of a fuckboy. He just everything about him is just horrible. He's like a lawyer in the worst sense of the occupation.
Yeah.
Like,
he's garnered his reputation as the slimiest senator.
mm-hmm.
He's definitely like
Al Frank. What was Al Franken's quote about him? He's like, you know, I'm probably. What did he say? He's like, I probably think the most highly of all the senators about Ted Cruz, and I fucking hate Ted Cruz or something like that. He is,
like what?
He's like, I'm Ted Cruz's closest friend in the Senate, and
I
hate.
Oh, and I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Dude, let me.
R.I.P. Al Franken. I forgot about that dude.
Yeah. Well, he didn't die. He just died. He just left.
He had political murder.
Because he groped somebody and that whole thing was a little bit suspicious, but there's also other stories about Al Franken. People say that he's just a creep in general, so
yeah.
I can see it, but
who knows, man? Yeah, I'm sure. Like So, Beto v. Cruz.
Right.
Is the big thing going on right now. Beto's built up his reputation as this dude from San Antonio who's been traveling to every single town and locality in Texas, and his banking on the idea that if I can talk to you, then I can earn your vote, kind of thing. So he's just playing the numbers game.
That's the way to be.
That's how to run a campaign, dude.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Like, and he's making the point of not taking campaign donations from. Whereas Ted Cruz, has he out fundraised Ted Cruz yet? Or?
I don't think so.
No, but Ted Cruz is doing the opposite approach.
I don't think you could, if you wanted to, outraise Ted Cruz. Like, Ted, not only is he an incumbent politician, which means that he has fundraising on lock, also, like, he's one of the guys who you get the impression like he's out here buying yachts based on campaign fundraising. It's like campaign fundraising is his job, and he's like very good at personally profiting from it.
He's the Walmart of politics.
Here's so this is what Al Franken said. Here's the thing you have to understand about Ted Cruz. I like Ted Cruz more than most of my other colleagues like Ted Cruz, and I hate Ted Cruz. That's what he said.
That's good.
Beto, I mean, it's really interesting because it seems like even if Ted Cruz might end up winning this, which, you know, would be horrible, but it would be the status quo. It's really funny to just see how Ted Cruz is trying to rival Beto O'Rourke, because I think his first campaign ad was like him shirtless with like a model's body and like with tattoos and smoking a cigarette. So he's trying to pretend like a badass. Have you seen that?
Wait, Ted Cruz did that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's weird. But he's also a part of the Christian evangelist, like community, dude. Right? Like that's a huge part of his like supporters of just numbers, or the evangelical Christian community, which I can't believe would support a shirtless Ted Cruz covered in tats. But let's see it.
Yeah.
What the hell? No,
know.
That's not made by Ted Cruz. Dude.
No, it is. It literally is.
Cruz. So he's trying to. That's almost racist. Okay, is it racist? It looks like a Houston Cholo kind of dude with like a bunch of.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know, man. That's such a weird, tasteless thing to see, dude.
No, he's what he's trying to do is get more millennial votes. Obviously, he has like a tattoo like right under his chest that says Cruz, and he's like smoking a cigarette and stuff.
Dude, that's like D'Angelo's body right there.
Yeah,
Photoshopped with Ted Cruz's face on it.
Crazy, dude.
That's so annoying.
I mean, he's trying to be funny, but it doesn't work, dude. And what's even more funny about it and pathetic is that before he used it as a campaign flyer, like he sent it out, he did an email blast with it as like a photo in the email.
Really?
Yeah, so he's like really attached to the picture. I think he has body image issues.
Dude, you know what though? I've never thought of a election to be such a like fundamentally like good versus evil, like out of characters though. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were to look at both of these people side by side, Ted Cruz is the like evil villain and Beto is like the pure souled like hero coming in to vanquish the, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
It's such a weird matchup.
Yeah, so I mean Beto is like progressive, Ted Cruz establishment Republican. I mean, he's the guy who, you know, uses right-wing talking points at every single turn, always has a smug look on his face.
He's the guy the left has been trying to defeat. Remember those Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz's like
debates? Yeah.
CNN debates.
And it's just interesting because it's like it couldn't be more filthy Texan, just scumbag.
Not to say that Texan is a bad part of that, but just filthy scumbag.
No, but it's like the Texan oil companies and stuff like that. It's just such a man. It's not good. Like it. I understand how it could be like one of the things that makes Texas great is that, you know, there are a lot of big oil-rich companies that go to Texas and have a lot of acres of land, and they end up doing like a farm. Yeah. So, anyway, I am going to be a little bit brief on this thing. I think we also have a caller calling in. All right. We're going to take our first inaugural phone call on here.
Nice. Phone call time. Let's see what we got. Okay, so who are we calling?
Hello.
Hey, JuiceMAN.
JuiceMAN.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're on the podcast with Noah and Henry. We're talking about Beto O'Rourke versus Ted Cruz right now.
Oh. What's that? Is that some type of Senate race in Texas?
Yeah.
That has a chance.
Dude, it's the battle of good versus evil right now. Beto versus Ted.
Are you telling me there's a pretty good chance?
I don't know, dude.
Oh,
like,
what?
you know what have you covered about how he's going to every, you know, O'Rourke's going to every district in Texas or in his voting.
Yeah, he's been to Texas. Yeah. He's been all over. We were talking about that. Like, he's been to...
He's signing up voters at every rally, at every place he goes. His team's getting out there. He's got people behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does, absolutely. Like people power as opposed to money power.
Oh, and there's this news story that came out recently, too, where actually one of Ted Cruz's interns got arrested for unregistered shotgun ammo or something like that, and a red flag went up for me because I was like, oh, Ted Cruz is totally trying to get attention from his base. Like, I was like, he's trying to use that because, like...
He's using that for positive, not negative. That's good publicity for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, because it's totally something that would play well in Texas and have people think that he's really what's it called?
Like activist. He's trying to
Yeah,
fill
yeah,
up this
like-
activist
and
roots
but
kind of thing.
but it's like completely fake, and you know that Ted Cruz would never do that because he would never sacrifice his ability to make all that money he's making in Congress by getting arrested. And I don't even think Ted Cruz is like that much of a gun advocate. I think he just plays one on TV, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well, a lot of them are just playing one on TV.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, we lost him. Unless those are his final words. All right. So,
All right.
as we know, one more thing that I wanted to ask Juice on the thing here, but well, if we get him back later, we'll bring up this question again. It had to deal with Beto and him being a musician.
Oh, true.
So-
Okay, so let's come back to that.
Let's come back to it later if we get this caller on the line again.
Okay,
However-
cool.
Okay. So, shall we move on to the next point?
Yep. Oh, he's calling back.
There we go.
All right.
Sorry, I fell down an elevator shaft.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I hope you're all right.
Normal justice shit. That is so you, dude.
It was so comical, so many happens all the time. No, I'm saying that like he's gonna save himself a lot of fucking guns. And like the NRA for like the recent half of like at least a quarter of the Republican politicians are gonna want to blue ones, I'm sure, or even in fucking office is because of the NRA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
stupid.
yeah, they have like a cult. I mean, they have 2 million members.
Most of the people
a
that
lot
are
of people.
members of the NRA don't even know what the fuck the NRA is really doing. Like, they don't. They're just. It's just an image thing. Talk about identity politics. They really just are in the NRA. They're card-carrying members of the NRA just so that they could tell people that they're card-carrying
Get a
members.
nice sticker on your truck
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
they can tell people that yeah.
Yeah, like if.
Like my vote goes towards like right.
Yeah,
Son of a
like.
bitch.
They just want to write a blank check for gun advocacy and hey,
How often? I just want to know how many times they've had to use that gun for protection, where they weren't the ones who pulled the gun out first.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Like the fantasy of like, hey, I'm gonna stop a robbery mid-process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like think about a robbery. Like would you rob a home full of people? No. Like if you were, I was saying like no criminal would do that on purpose. Like the very rare occasion that would happen, which a lot of these neighborhoods, like where I grew up, we left our door unlocked and we had a gun. So I don't understand it.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I was like, why? I was like, well then why do you have it? It's like, well,
Cause it's a part
I was
of
like,
the experience.
And then well, don't worry, the bullets are hidden away from you. And I was like, well, I'm not worried. Like I'm not worried about me.
you have to do
I was
so
like, I'm not
many.
trying to find this gun here.
You have to do so many mental gymnastics if you just own a gun. It's like, because people are gonna ask you like, why do you have it, and like, oh, where is it, and if you have kids, like, you got to make sure that you hide it and stuff, and then you have to ask yourself like, okay, so if I have it for my protection, why do I lock it up? And then if I don't lock it up, what happens if the kids find it? And then if I'm using it for hunting, why do I have an AR-15 or like? I mean, it's like you have to do all that stuff, and it's just like like, dude.
I think about guns. I think about guns the same way I think about like guns today in America. The same way I think about like how fast vapes and different types of vapes have spread. Because now it's like I'm not saying that people that vape are like a crazy tech pack mentality of all together. I'm just saying like now that like owning a gun has become such like a cultist type or mob mentality.
Yeah.
There's like this one that looks like Batman, Hello Kitty guns, and like it's so customizable. There's so many different.
It's like a niche thing.
Guns and vapes.
It's like the
it's like cult.
subgenres of music where it's like I think we need to simplify this.
Yeah, no
Like I think
doubt.
there should only be like 3 different kinds of guns available.
Yeah.
But if we're going to sell guns, then everybody should have mandatory gun training at some point. Or, not mandatory gun training, but I'm saying, like, it should be, like, maybe just a handgun. There's a couple different kinds of guns too. Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty simple.
My argument, to be honest, is like the same. I use Jimmy Dore's argument. I love his argument on this, which is if you're all about protecting your rights and that's the reason why you have guns, where was your fucking well-regulated or well-armed militia when they repealed habeas corpus? Like, where were you then? Because I'm pretty sure we already lost most of our rights and we're already being spied on by the NSA, and all these documents came out that revealed that in plain sight. We weren't doing it for national security reasons.
Yeah, so if we're not going to use it for a well-armed militia, then what's the point?
Yeah.
It doesn't say so I can roll up. It's not like you have the right to bear arms, so you can fucking lay some waste when somebody comes in your home.
Yeah, exactly. And
like, what the fuck? And it definitely doesn't say you can bear arms just to go fucking shoot them because it sounds fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so...
It doesn't say for a fucking hobby.
Yeah.
And we're never going to have...
Degrees,
you're never going to let, like, a private citizen buy, like, a tank or, like, nukes or, like, any sort of, like, dirty bombs or you know... I don't know if you're allowed to even buy, like, certain types of riot sprays or, like, different stuff like that. Like...
I'm sure you could on the dark web. On the dark
yeah,
web.
yeah.
It's always sunny where he buys the RPG for that.
But, like, but it's...
Spoiler alert.
But that's illegal. You know what I mean? So, it's like...
Well, yeah.
You're not going to go up against a tank, and our police force is already in the process of buying tanks. So, what the fuck are we doing? Like, the Second Amendment, like, I fully agree with it, idealistically speaking, and I don't have any problem with it at all. Like, that's not where I'm coming from with that argument. My only argument is that, well, if that's your argument, we already lost all of our fucking rights. Like, all the people that would be in our militia are probably overseas fighting in wars that don't make any sense. They're in Afghanistan. Yeah. They're going to come back and have PTSD, and, you know, they're not going to be useful in that way. Where's our well-regulated militia? Well, they're in these wars, or they're at home focused on the wrong bullshit. They think that people want to take away their gun, which hardly anybody is even advocating. I mean, you can't even be a member of Congress and really have the opinion that nobody should own guns. That's a misconception.
But you think that, but that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. But while the law is legal, let's imagine the world, like, if we become so divided, we go to, like, a civil war or something, which would be nuts, and probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
But if it does, right now while the law is legal, which side do you think has more guns? You know what I mean? I think, like, as much as I oppose it, I don't think it'd be bad to maybe stock up on a few fucking guns.
Right.
I forgot what comedian said this, but I was like, I really want to be able to have fresh water in 10 years. You know what I mean? So I might get a gun right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Let's go out and
stock
up a little bit.
Just in case. I can argue my point to the vote, but, you know, just in case it doesn't work out, might as well have plan B.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same mentality I have towards owning guns is like the same mentality I have towards having an underground safe
bunker or something.
Yeah, a bunker. Yeah, like for like.
Dude,
yeah.
You gotta find. Here's what you do, because you don't want these people to make money off of you, because that's just giving them capitalism. So the best way to get a gun, steal one. Right? Steal a gun. I'm just saying, if you really want to stick it to them, you steal a gun and you get
Oh yeah, find the bunker. Oh yeah, dude,
First-
smart.
And then
like
find
a-
a bunker without any guns. And then get this person with a gun. So you're in charge.
Dude, don't you love when like libertarianism was just about smoking weed and owning guns? I think about that all the time. I'm like, back in the good old days in like the 90s when I was growing up, and the libertarians used to be cool as fuck and they just wanted to smoke weed, have sex on a ranch with their hot babe girlfriend.
They're just trying to chill.
and like
And now-
own guns.
Yeah.
And
And now
like,
they're so backwards.
yeah, now it's like in order to have their own liberty and freedom, they have to take it from other people. That's what they're on now. Like, they're like,
Yes. They say I'm on that. And it's like, what the hell? How did that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they used to be so cool, man. Way cooler than me.
I remember when Republicans didn't like slaves that much.
Yeah, that's true. Now they fucking love them. But
Now they fuck with some slave shit, low key.
Man.
I mean, Democrats sort of do too. I mean, I'm not
Oh,
gonna
for
lie.
sure. Hard establishment Democrats. But Democrats were the ones who were okay with it, right?
Back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking more
Honestly,
about
they're doing good. They made a good turnaround.
yeah.
Healthy turnarounds.
No. I'm just talking
No.
about the prison industrial complex.
Oh right.
Oh, yeah?
Slavery.
I thought
in
we
the
were talking
prisons.
about Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah. Oh, we were
Well-
talking about Beta too, dude. I got one more thing to ask you too, because JuiceMAN is a musician as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
We know that Beto's roots as a musician. The Cruz campaign has been trying to.
Clearly, my friends call me JuiceMAN, but
Oh yeah.
tell them you're
Well, Henry's trying to formalize it for you, bro. He
Title
looks
of Juice
He
Man.
looks up to you, man. How can you?
Physically.
I'm also as tall as the joke there.
Yeah.
Okay, Juice Man.
Yeah, Ted Cruz campaign is trying to spin it as a negative, saying that he's a no good, dirty musician. What is your take on this?
Oh my god, right. First of all, my take on this is that he's on a border town, right?
Yeah.
Plays music, he's like this white guy, and where does the hate for musicians come from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
take
where's
that
the
one
hate?
personally.
No,
Not
because
a
we're
musician.
supposed
First
to
of all,
be
we're
like slackers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, first of all, music's the most popular thing in the world, right?
Yeah,
True.
right.
Yeah. It's the universal language.
Why you gotta get mad at somebody for getting on that train? Like, if
Yeah,
anything, it makes
exactly.
it cooler.
They're grasping.
I'm sorry that people like to hang out with, or work more than Ted Cruz, dude.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's just a hater, and he's worried because he's just trying anything. They're gonna try anything. The GOP plays real dirty.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
He's not even like a cultural appropriator musician. He's not like a.
He's playing
No,
like
and
punk music and
it
stuff.
was like bluegrassy stuff, right? Or like folk music.
Or
No, he
like-
did like punk and stuff during the 90s.
Yeah, he did
dude.
like punk.
He was a part of
Oh my
that
god,
like,
that's hilarious.
lo-fi
Yeah.
punk and stuff. Yeah. Wait. Okay. So, what do you think? My final question dealing with this though is, what do you think Ted Cruz has on his playlist? What does he listen to?
Oh my god. This is a good one. Cardi B.
Nah, man, no way.
Oh my god.
He's a secretly like, yeah.
He's got like Linkin Park's first album.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Oh.
You can Google this, I'm
I
sure.
have tried so hard. What is that? I don't know the rest of the
Probably
lyrics.
Sting solo albums.
Oh, okay. Do you think he would have Simon and Garfunkel?
No way, man.
No way, bro.
No.
No way, dude.
Kenny
Wait,
Loggins.
He's also listening to Johnny Coltrane too. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I'm giving him.
That guy
Dude.
listens. He probably got Smash Mouth on his fucking.
Somebody. Okay, here's an article. Here's a glimpse. There's a list of all the presidential candidates and what music they played at their rallies.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
really?
Okay.
You got that list right there?
According to an interview he did with CBS this morning, the Texas senator said, "I stopped listening to rock music after 9/11. He now prefers country music."
What the fuck, bro?
Man, right now?
Country music.
Okay, so notable endorsement for Ted Cruz: Christian rock band The Newsboys.
Oh my god, that guy gets laid all of twice.
I love that band.
Yeah.
Was it like the little boys? Dude, because Christian people, especially Catholics, love those little boys. They're like, hear ye, read this stuff. Like that back in the day, like that was the Catholic Church's favorite.
Wow, dude, we gave Ted Cruz the benefit of the doubt way too much, and I thought I wasn't giving him the benefit.
Dude, Ted Cruz also was the only candidate without an official campaign playlist as well.
I think he doesn't listen to music, dude.
I don't think so.
Embarrassed, dude. I think his whole life is just fake, dude. That is almost obvious in watching him talk. He gets so much joy in just
He's just a liar.
twisting.
Big liar, but he's better at it than Trump.
Yeah, true.
Remember when Bernie Sanders sat down with Killer Mike too? Let's just remember that one for a second.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
God, for the good old days.
I bet Bernie Sanders like has a couple Solange songs on his playlist and like.
Oh yeah.
Really? I think he just listens to like Jewish music.
Klezmer. he just listens to.
No, he probably listens to like Adam Sandler songs and Run the Jewels.
Oh, the Hanukkah song.
Yes.
Dude, yo, that's so funny, dude. Yeah, I'm just no. Bernie Sanders has Paul Simon on his playlist. Bernie Sanders and Larry David hang out and listen to music.
Oh, so.
Oh, for sure, he's got Paul Simon.
Yeah.
He's got like Paul Simon or like any adorably cute old band.
Okay, yeah. Do you think
like
adorably cute old men hang out together?
Old band. Old men?
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
not.
Old...
I mean, like, at a certain point, you don't want to make any new friends, right? Like, I'm sure...
No. We're starting this club, dude. When after the first one of us turns 37, we're starting this club.
What if we don't make it to 37?
Shut up, Juice. You're going to make it to 37.
No,
Barely.
Dude, you are going to be the most adorable because your brain is going to be fried.
Oh no.
Chicken's actually good for you. There's just a test about it. Anyway,
So, all right, moving on.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Henry?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think Bernie Sanders? Does Bernie Sanders have an opinion on Palestine?
Does he have a what?
An opinion of Palestine.
Oh, of Palestine? Oh, that's a good question. You know, I'm not really sure. If I were to guess though, or pin something on him, he's gonna have to go with the like deal of like both sides need to back off.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't do. I think he's like one of those like both sides need to back off and figure it out. I'm willing to provide some sort of like forum space for it, but like he's not gonna go for either side.
I think he would help Palestine out.
Probably.
It's questionable though because historically he sided with Israel and then more recently he condemned Israel.
Probably since like Netanyahu and all that stuff.
But he's Jewish, so it'd be nice to have a Jewish president come and be like.
Yeah, that's true.
Like yeah.
No,
especially.
No way, bro. No way.
Depends on where the money is, I guess. Like, but he's not getting AIPAC though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
AIPAC is not supporting Bernie, so.
Yeah, AIPAC. If you don't know, Juice, AIPAC is like the really right wing Jewish Israel lobby. They pretty much own Congress, so that's why all these congressmen and senators they all support Israel, and like most American Jews don't even support Israel at this point. It's because of this company AIPAC. It's like a lobbying company.
Yeah. However,
that should be illegal.
Yeah, but there's alternatives too. There's a liberal one called JPAC, too, that I heard about. Or no, J Street is what it's called.
Yeah.
And they take the opposite approach, so it's not the same.
J Street, like G Street, like G Street.
J Street, yeah.
There's another one. There's another one that I know a bunch of people, and I forget what it's called, but maybe I'll look it up. But also there's a really good video on the Jewish lobby and how they're completely deceptive and they fuck around. It's a documentary that was released by, or it was filmed by Al Jazeera, and then it was blocked from being released. It was like literally censored by Israel. Basically, Israel like demanded that they not release it, but it's about AIPAC and their influence in DC, and it's crazy. And the Gray Zone Project actually started releasing snippets of it. It's really interesting. All right, so, but moving on, we're going to talk about Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj and Cynthia
Cardi
Nixon.
B, Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so Cardi and Nicki, right? And so the history is like they were sort of like they wanted really hard to be friends, and then they started bickering back and forth about verses, and I didn't know she
and then
didn't
the baby,
like me. And
apparently
then,
the baby gets into it too, and then
yeah. So what I want to learn about is actually a bartender had told us at a bar we were just at that like Cardi had sided in the New York race with Cynthia Nixon, and then Nicki Minaj went for Andrew Cuomo, and they're trying to like
it's another layer of
battle.
another layer of shit.
They endorse separate people on purpose.
Yeah, did you hear at all about that?
Fuck yeah, dude. So, I guess that matters a little less because the race is over.
Right, which Cynthia Nixon lost, which sort of sucks, but she could still run.
Huh?
She could still run with like there's a different party that she's considering running for.
She lost by
a huge margin, dude.
Right, but
huge margin.
a lot of the votes weren't counted though. A lot of people got kicked off the voting rolls and stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they stole it, right?
Yeah, so I'm almost not even surprised about that. But yeah, it's
Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Can I talk about that real quick?
Let's talk.
Go back to it actually.
Huh?
Yeah, let's go into that. So, City of New York, Cardi
She
B.
got bossed in the face. Like Cardi B walked out of there with a big goose egg on her forehead.
Yeah.
I like that they were at like fashion week, all right, classy event, and here these two chicks so pissed off at each other. It's just exactly like Nicki Minaj, or not Nicki Minaj. Cardi B got famous by being in reality shows. Like that's just how she is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they're both wild, they're hilarious, but I just like a little beef going on. I don't understand why it's got to be embarrassing. It's good news, something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better than Kanye news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just gotten so fucking gross.
What, Kanye?
Yeah, like the local Pornhub Awards and like the new song. And
The new song with the big boxy look.
It's just like,
what a look.
it's yucky. Like I'm not like trying to be like prudish or anything. It's just like it lacks so much class and distinction.
It lacks so much class. Well, yeah.
That's a funny way to look at it.
Dude. For viral value, dude. Like it's totally
He used to be like gross, but he was classy.
Yeah, he used to like. Because he used to put it on for the underground. Now he's sort of playing sides with the
meme
capitalists.
Internet, like.
Well, I was thinking.
So many different things, yeah.
I think he went full on capitalist, and he's trying to do his thing within a system that is failing and taking advantage of poor people. And he used to be like, I mean, he still isn't political. That to me, like that's the biggest inconsistency with like his current opinions and stuff is that he's in the political arena, but he doesn't have any policy opinions. So, like,
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, and
He doesn't have any opinions about anything. He's not changing anything. He just says, like, big stuff. He says things that are less intelligent. All right, at least less opinionated than Trump. Right?
yeah,
In, like, broader terms. For Trump, he's like, no, like, it's just stuff. That's literally all he said. So when you hear him speak, you know, that's the other guy you can get behind.
yeah.
So kind of people used to think you were intelligent.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
That crying on the radio. You know, I mean, you need to go out there for people. Apologize to Drake. We gotta apologize to Drake for.
Yeah.
Who are you to the Drake policy? Drake's put on some garbage shit lately too.
yeah.
Like I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You cried. It's like no one even thought you guys were friends. You have one song back in art, and I did not like that song that much. Like, I don't care about Drake.
Yeah.
You know, who is he crying about? Why is he so sad?
Dude, he should be.
Like, what is he actually sad about? These are not real feelings.
He could be crying about people not having jobs, and yet he chooses to cry about a multi-millionaire.
About equality. There's so much to cry about.
Yeah.
Poverty.
Yeah.
So he was like, man, this chick on Instagram didn't DM me back after she DM'd me fun, and now I'm sick of her, but then she DM'd me back, and it's like, I guess that's you just doing you at the club.
All these haters, man.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's actually totally true. I'm sort of.
I was like, I like the beat though, you know? And that's Jake's song. That's Jake's beat.
I have to say, there are certain aspects of Kanye's new inner peace that I do actually like. Like, I do think it's good for him to spread the idea of just unconditional love, just period, for everything. I think that's good. I think it's positive, and we need that. But yeah,
I think he's just saying that, and he's not actually spreading that.
Yeah, he's sort of doing it in a
like an
weird
aesthetic
way.
kind of way.
I think he's saving face.
Yeah. I agree, and he might be sedated by some of his drugs that he's on and stuff. It's hard for me to really see what is real and what isn't real with him anymore, or what opinions he would abandon quickly and what is actually like part of him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like if I went up to Kanye and I was like, my bro, dude, I just love you, man, like, can I just give you a hug, man? I feel like he would call security.
You think so?
I feel like he would, yeah.
Like someone I know, he posted a picture of like a bartending friends on his Reddit, not his Reddit, his fucking Twitter page the other day.
Oh, well, hey, man, I could be wrong, too.
I mean, he was just in Chicago. He left.
Yeah, man. Oh, JuiceMan's in Chicago, too, by the way. That's why we had to have him on the phone.
Oh, yeah, calls from the shy. Real music, real life, real opinions, real juice.
Real opinions, real juice.
Bro.
And we hope to have him over here soon enough.
Yeah, he'll be over here soon.
In the stew, as we like to call it, the studio. Or whatever you want.
In the studio.
I'm assuming you're in the cinder block, four-wall cinder block room.
Oh, we're in the bunker right now. We've got guns all around.
We have a wall of tuna fish.
Like no sunlight.
Yeah.
No one's left in days.
We've got a pile of gold bars in the corner just in case.
Mm-hmm.
No one's shirtless, and Henry has a hat on.
Ooh, I do. That's true. You nailed it.
Do you really?
You can't even see us.
Yeah, dude.
That's how protected I am.
Yeah.
There's a phone.
Dang.
Okay, so, alright, so that was good. Alright, so Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. Alright, so now we're going to talk about either, okay.
I think we're coming up on our hour pretty soon. I'm down.
Did we decide who won
the podcast?
Okay, so the Cardi versus Nicki, it's an ongoing war. We know that the battle of the governor has been won by Nicki, but that's just one battle in the greater war.
This is the first battle. This is like battle one at the fight. Nicki Minaj kind of won too, but
yeah,
Cardi B has 4 people holding her back.
Yeah, true. Round one.
I think right now it's too close to call for this whole war.
Too close to call. We'll
But
follow up on
Nicki
this.
Minaj is up a little bit. Cardi B needs to release. I think Cardi B needs to release this track.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I think we need to change this to the steel.
That's fair. I'll keep in the loop about it too. I don't know if I've made up my mind either about it.
It's too close to call.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right. So Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to for the sake of keeping it relatively down closer to the hour. Do you want to go into your FB one? We can touch on that one.
So Facebook censorship. They recently a conservative right wing group had complained about a censorship bias in social media censorship. So they started actually advising Facebook on who to censor, and they ended up censoring Think Progress, right? I forget.
Whoa.
Yeah, I forget like what the story was that they based the fake news on in that situation, but it was blatantly stupid, and I'm not gonna defend Think Progress necessarily, but it's just funny because this censorship stuff, it inevitably always comes back to the left. Like nobody knows the fact that like 70% of college censorship that happens on college campuses is actually censorship of left-wing speakers speaking about Palestinian rights. Yeah, look it up.
In America?
Yeah, in America.
Yeah, most of forced censorship is for people talking about people's rights.
Yeah, it's
like we're being quiet, we're being silent when we're being allowed to speak out on issues. 100%.
Yeah.
On real issues.
It's
yeah.
And it's not, and all, most media it's kind of thought about as it's the opposite way, or like the right wing. I mean, especially big money that makes a lot of money. The people that make a lot of money off of the injustices in this world pay a lot of money to make it seem like we're the ones that are being crazy.
Yeah, totally. So censorship on college campuses, the people that make a big deal about it are conservatives, okay? There's a whole conservative movement based around
how colleges, the bastions of liberalism, are censoring.
And how they're victimized and stuff.
Yeah.
And how Antifa shows up and sets cars on fire and stuff. First of all, that's not an example of censorship. That maybe is an example of mob censorship, which is a little bit different than college censorship, all right? Because the mob wouldn't be showing up if the college hadn't invited you in the first place.
If you aren't bringing Milo Yiannopoulos to speak about white rights, you're not going to attract a big thing like that.
Second of all, a lot of these conservative groups on college campuses are there in the first place because they're being bankrolled by big conservative organizations. That's second of all. Third of all, the people actually being censored are like the BDS, Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement that's involved in Palestinian rights right now, boycotting Israel. Those people get censored heavy in colleges. Also, professors speaking out about Trump or speaking out about progressive issues, they get censored a lot because of the board members of the colleges and stuff like that, and just conservative outrage and stuff, and they inevitably end up apologizing in many cases. Some cases they get fired, wrongfully so, and it's just sad. I mean, the left.
It used to be be like that. Used to be something you're supposed to teach people,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and now people are getting mad because that's being turned into a political issue. Equal rights.
Yeah, because
Like this is a fish. Like I cannot believe that that's a thing to where they're going into schools being like, you can't teach that.
it's very ironic because a lot of conservatives preach equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity, right? And they think, oh yeah, it's okay to think that maybe people deserve equality of opportunity, but not equality of outcome. But then on this issue specifically, they don't realize they're advocating for exactly the opposite of what they're supposed to be believing in, which is they want it to be more fair for them, essentially. Like the whole white supremacy thing. They literally want to be propped up because people are making fun of them. So they don't want to just let they don't want to have the same opportunity. They want to be given more of an opportunity than
return back to how it was.
Right, exactly.
That's conservatism.
They want to be given more opportunity than other people.
So
they don't want
status quo, basically. They're disguising keeping the status quo as our rights are in retreat.
Right.
And
or our rights are being infringed on or something. Yeah. And so the whole thing is just whack and stuff. And so FB censorship, Facebook censorship, but not only that, I mean online censorship in general, Google censorship, YouTube censorship. I mean, they censored pro-Syrian videos on YouTube right as they were predicting another Syrian chemical gas attack, which, I mean, if you guys don't know about that, all that shit is propaganda, all of it. Like Assad, it's most likely that he's not doing a lot of these chemical attacks. A lot of them are done by the U.S. the U.S. backed Syrian rebels, and I mean it.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, I believe
it. But they're framing Assad, right, as like this evil dictator. But the thing is with Assad, it's the same thing with Saddam Hussein. It's the same thing with Gaddafi in Libya. Like, these people are evil. They do horrible things, okay? Nobody's saying that they're not and they don't. But they're dealing with people who are more extreme than them in their own countries.
And they're trying to hold on to power is the only thing.
And they're dealing with a lot of different influences and a lot of different factions. What people who really have known foreign policy and been around it for a while, what they really know is that a lot of crazy shit has been bubbling up in the Middle East for a while because they have a lot of oil and they have a lot of money and they have a lot of factions that all want access to that money, and they have a lot of poor people and all this stuff. So successful leaders of these countries have been successful at balancing a lot of these different factions and appeasing different people. So yeah, they'll have, these, violent ways to do it, and there'll be certain uprisings or things like of that nature. But if the U.S. gets involved, and they have, destabilizing effects, or even just, dipping their toes in the water, they don't know what's coming to them. I mean, we want to get involved in Iran right now, and this is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, the Iranian people weren't doing that bad until we started sanctioning the shit out of them, and they still and they still love Americans. They're still not the enemy. They have.
No, they're not the enemy.
Yeah, I mean
The
they're
people are not the enemy, man. That's just.
I mean, no one's the enemy. They're all people.
exactly.
Most people in most countries are innocent people.
They're-
Their leaders might have bad intentions, but these are people still.
Well, and the thing.
Everyone's been misguided. We've been misguided in the many wars.
Yeah,
That's insane to me.
and the leaders too. I mean, the leaders are involved in this crazy balancing act. So it's like if you look at what's going on in Lebanon, I mean, essentially Lebanon is run by that organization Hezbollah, right? But
Yes.
technically speaking, if we were to acknowledge that in the West, that they're being run by a terrorist organization, then they would get overthrown like almost instantly. So because they're known as a national security threat and all this other BS, so they actually have this balance of power between like a democratic government that is basically being basically a dummy and a prop for these
Yeah.
militias, because the militias have the real power and they're the ones who do drive-by shootings midday, and they're the ones that really hold the political power, and they're also the ones that are fighting wars on behalf of Lebanon and all this other stuff. I mean, you see in Gaza, I mean, they're being run by Hamas, but I mean, the thing is with that is that the PLO and Hamas, they have both partnered with Israel, because at a certain point, money speaks the loudest. And actually, Hamas, the reason why they were elected in the first place was they were the only group that was willing to stand up for Palestinians. Everyone else just sold them off. So if you were a Palestinian, how would you vote, essentially? You would vote for the person that wants to try and get you out of poverty.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
feel so bad for people in politics. It's like the saddest shit ever, dude.
it's awful, dude. It's horrible.
Yeah. There's no winning there.
Anyway.
Yeah, so the censorship, I mean, Venezuelan websites, they get censored and all this other stuff. Basically, all these left-wing websites that are actually trying to find what's true and advocate for peace, they all end up getting censored. So, yeah, the big story might be Alex Jones getting censored from Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff, but that's literally just it's just bait. It's just to bait. It's just used to pacify the left, and it works so well. I mean, nobody is really talking about how Facebook censored Think Progress. All these people that reposted all this Think Progress stuff, none of them, I don't see any of them talking about the fact that Think Progress just got censored.
No.
So it's
I
just,
think progress was like, I didn't know, it's kind of censored.
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's actually getting to a point, and they fucking deserve it, because Think Progress is, as much as they did some good stuff, they also, they're partially like an establishment outlet, and they do a lot of clickbaity stuff, and they don't speak up.
They do a lot of clickbaity stuff.
Yeah. If you're making money off of ads.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta be
It's not real true, but they have a lot of stuff. That's what am I trying to say? Like, didn't Obama have something on there recently?
Yeah. So in closing on this topic, it's just, you can't wait. Oh, I think Noam Chomsky has like a really good quote about this, where you don't wait until they censor like the neutral or like really mild type stuff. Why do we have these free speech rights? Really, why do we have them? Well, we have them for the people whose speech that we don't like, because those are the guys that actually need the protection of that law. If you're saying something that's not controversial, you don't really need that protection because people just are going to agree with you, right? So, I mean, nobody's going to care. So we have these free speech laws for extremist opinions that we don't agree with. And we allow people to say stuff like Alex Jones, you know, to say stuff that we don't necessarily agree with because it's his First Amendment right. And when we censor that, it inevitably is going to come and bite us in the ass because we're saying stuff that's anti-government. You know, we don't agree with all their policies, and we're trying to serve as a balance to what the official narrative is. So yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
All right.
But Alex Jones, I'm glad that, yeah, it's, you can tell us it's together, but we can't stop him from talking. Same reason that we have like Nazi flags, like why you're allowed to be a Nazi, even though we fought part of a war against one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just leads to more censorship, though. I mean, like, so I think that stuff, I think Nazi stuff and Alex Jones and stuff like that stuff deplatforms itself, honestly. If we have a functioning society where
people are just gonna realize that that's not mainstream opinions, nor will it ever be.
Yeah, you bring it out in the light of day, you let them do it, and people don't necessarily gravitate toward it. I mean, in Poland they had a neo-Nazi parade, and the way they decide to go about it was that for each like 500 meters or something, they would donate, for each 500 meters of the march that the neo-Nazis marched, the government donated like $100 or $1,000 to like a Jewish charity or something like that. So it was like the more the Nazis marched, like the more they would be supporting.
That's so funny.
Yeah, this Jewish charity. So it's like, I mean, there's stuff you can do, but in general, like, these ideas they're not, if they're fundamentally wrong, they're going to get exposed. You don't have to deplatform them.
Yeah, usually. But they're kind of, since they're being bashed by, like, since they're being, like, pushed and, like, sponsored by, like, a Russian disenfranchisement campaign, like.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because they get more credibility when you censor them. So if they're trying to say like, the Jews want to shut us up and stuff, and then we deplatform them as a government, then they can say, "See, look, I told you." Whereas if we just give them a platform to say what they're gonna say, and it's like the crazy person in the middle of Central Park, like shouting about conspiracy theories. Yeah, let him talk. You know what I mean? If we start arresting that guy, then he might draw an audience because he'll be like, Why are people arresting me? I didn't do anything. I just was saying my piece and stuff. And
yeah, in a free speech society, you have to, that's another, sort of ground rule, is that crazy people recognize crazy, basically.
mm-hmm.
And however, I mean, different contexts though, like the Nazis in Germany had their platform to do it, but they took over. But it was circumstantial too,
It's because of the
we have
economy.
history,
If the economy is doing fine, then people aren't going to gravitate toward that stuff. But if you censor it, you make it worse. It doesn't make anything better. I mean, the reason why these people are growing in popularity is because the same people who joined the Nazi Party are being disenfranchised and nobody's doing anything about it. So there's as much of a conspiracy against like the poor people as there is, you know, on the Nazi side.
Do you want to close up pretty soon? We got an hour and 15 in.
Yeah. Alright, so do you want to do your last?
I think we can just skip that one.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
We've hit our hour mark.
Okay.
We had a lot of rams. So,
This has been real fun, boys.
oh yeah, dude.
Okay,
Thanks
so-
for being on. We're closing up here anyways, so.
Yeah,
Alright.
JuiceMan,
Yeah.
tell the people online where they can find your stuff.
Oh, you want me to plug my stuff?
Yeah,
Of course,
plug your
man.
stuff.
Plug it up? Alright, well, I'm, it's Instagram, it's at Justice Hill, JusticeHill.
All right.
We have a band called St. Juice. Looks like Dylan Gospel. If you're ever around Chicago, come check me out. Check out the band.
Nice.
And yeah.
You heard
Keep
it,
on
folks.
listening to- What's the name of the show?
It's called Dapique News Podcast. DAPIQUE.
Oh, is this for Peak Entertainment? The company that I own, or you own, or whatever?
Yeah.
Somebody owns it, yeah.
Yeah, somebody owns it. I don't know. Whoever wants to bankroll it. So yeah, no, exactly. So Dapique News Podcast. This is episode 6. And
Favorite episode.
what?
His favorite
This is
episode.
my favorite episode so far.
Number 6 featuring
It's
Justice
a good
Hill.
one. Yeah.
You can find him at Justice Hill, and his band is St. Juice.
Yup.
Check him out.
They're all over the place doing great things, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, boys.
All right, guys. All right, Justice.
Great.
Thanks for joining us today, man. We love you, and we hope to see you soon when you get out here.
Love you too.
All right, love you, man.
All right, see you. I'll be on Facebook. Bye.
All right,
Peace.
peace.
All right, so you can find me at ngitless, NGITLIS on Twitter and Facebook and all that other good stuff. Insta.
I'm Henry F. Dotson. You can see me as well on the Instas. I don't tweet.
I don't fucking tweet.
I only lurk. I read.
Yeah. And we're Dapique News Podcast. All right, in closing, see ya later and
Peace.
smoke some fat doinks.
Doinks. Word. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.